Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 1UP Superstar Series playoffs. This is race number 5 of 10. We are at the halfway point in the 1UP Superstar Series playoffs, race 25 of 30 for the entire season, and we're at the Magic Mile at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for 76 laps around this relatively flat 1-mile oval. It's sure to provide plenty of racing action for us going forward, and we hope you'll enjoy all 76 laps of it going forward. Alongside me in the booth today, as always, is Duke Ansack for today's race. This is a strategy-filled racetrack. There's always an opportunity to try something different, whether it be a different line to go around the racetrack in, a different pit strategy opportunity, a lot of different things going on in this one. So what's going to be the key to victory here? Staying up front, trying something different? What's the key here?
It's going to be all about being smooth. I really do think that this track is the type of track that you really have to hit your line good. It races a little bit like a short track because of the fact that it's 1 mile in length, which is kind of like on the border of is it a short track or not. And it's so flat in the corners like a Martinsville where you really have to kind of hug the bottom of that where the banking starts, which is actually a groove up from the line. So it's going to be really interesting to see who is able to hug that part of the track the best today. And if the outside lane will start to get going a little bit, we might be able to see it because of the fact that you're able to kind of carry a lot of momentum up there out of the corner, and that's what you need to get the outside lane going. So I really do think it's going to come down to who is the smoothest today and who wants it the most.
Looking at the starting lineup now for these 76 laps, Joshua Michaels gets his second pole of the season. He got his first at Kansas. He gets his second here at New Hampshire. He will line up on pole. And right next to him, an incredible qualifying effort from Cody Goforth in the 60. He will line up in his best career starting spot in second. Justin Hutchinson, Henry Thomas, Jared Polansky ran at the top 5. But I got to talk about this 60 car because he's mentioned before that this is one of his favorite racetracks. It's one of the places he feels he can shine, and he's definitely showing it so far with a second place qualifying effort. What can he do in the race, though?
Well, it's all going to depend on the start, I believe. If he can get out there and get ahead of Joshua Michaels, he might be able to stay out there blocking a little bit. Obviously, that's a fast car. He did well in qualifying, well enough to start second place right there. So it's going to be fascinating. I think if you're stuck on the outside too long early in this race, you might lose some positions. And, of course, it's always possible to get them back, but you don't want to have to lose them and try to fight back to the front. So the goal for Cody Goforth there, get out front and stay out front.
So with that being said, we'll see how well he does at that. The cars are lined up on the grid, and we're ready to bring you 76 laps of action from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And the green flag is next. You won't want to miss a second of it. Stay tuned. The green flag is coming up shortly. As the field rolls through turns 3 and 4, we always ask you to join us for a silent lap 1 in memory of Ryan Darnell. Green flag in the air. We're underway at New Hampshire. A solid lap 1 from Joshua Michaels. He leads the first lap. But Cody Goforth's making a move down to the inside, trying to take that lead away. He's trying to lead his first green flag laps of the season that aren't because of pit strategy. So Cody Goforth doing everything he can to put pressure on that 26. Even if he's in the playoffs, Goforth is on a mission here today.
For sure, and he's got a fast car too. I mean, I thought he was going to be able to get the lead in turn 1 on lap 2 there, but he wasn't able to get there, and they're 3 wide for 4th place here at New Hampshire. This is incredible. Is it going to work going down in here? There's 2 playoff guys in this 3 wide battle, and there's another behind, Stephen Hunter as well. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there between the 21 and the 18. This is dangerous. I can't believe there's still 3 wide.
There's plenty of room to go 3 wide here, but watch out because Polansky's got down on the flat now. He's going to have to give way here. He's not giving way, though, at all. Jared Polanski is not one to give way at any point in time in this race because he is on a mission to reclaim the points lead, and he is going to let nothing stop him from doing that. He is now up into the 6th position, just behind J.D. Martin and just ahead of the side-by-side battle between Stephen Hunter and Jake McMillan up in front. As we look back now at Cody Goforth, who's settled in nicely into 2nd position, trying to hold off Justin Hutchinson behind him, and trying to catch Joshua Michaels right in front of him.
Yeah, so Justin Hutchinson is in a situation right now, as far as points are concerned, where he needs to go up there and win this race. He needs to go up there and do as good as he can in the rest of these races to even have a shot at the championship, because he is sitting 61 points behind the leader, so he needs a lot of really good runs. But as far as Joshua Michaels is concerned, he's only 45 points behind, so a good solid couple of top threes here will have him right back in the fight. And of course, winning is always helpful, and we've got one off. It's the 92.
He's a playoff contender as well. Jeffrey Finguy, he entered 4th in the points, and he's got a flat tire, it looks like, because he's sliding across the grass out of control. He does make it to pit road without issue. We remain under green flag conditions, but this is going to absolutely destroy Jeffrey Finguy's hopes of a good race, and it could lay a serious blow into his championship aspirations as well, because as you can see, with him stuck on pit road, changing his tires, and the rest of the field blowing by, you see him coming off of turn 4 right now. Yeah. They're going to put him a lap down right here.
Yeah, they did put him a lap down there. No caution for that incident. There was no debris on the track, and there was no safety issue for the other drivers, since the whole field is still packed up from the start of this thing. He went into this race only 42 points back, but the gap is only going to grow, because he's going to be sitting in last place. He's going to have to get really, really lucky and drive his way back up if he wants to have a shot at getting back on the lead lap. And now Justin Hutchinson going for 2nd place.
But for Daniel Bouchard in 42nd place, you're right, Jeffrey Finguy's fallen back all the way to 41st position in this race. A tough break for the 92, but he has 5 races left to rebound and hopefully get into a good position to win a championship still. But, as you said, Justin Hutchinson has gotten around Cody Goforth for 2nd, and now Hutchinson will attempt to chase down Joshua Michaels. This is the most laps led Joshua Michaels has led in a race all season up to this point, so he'd like to stay there for a while, because remember, in his last pole run at Kansas, he only led the first 3 laps of that race, as right now it is Justin Hutchinson all over the back bumper at a 26, and you can see these cars fanning out in the corners. You see J.D. Martin up in the high groove, trying to get some momentum to stick, and it looks like he's going to get around Jared Polanski as a result.
Yeah, you know, there's a couple of different grooves right now, which is really interesting. It looks like the bottom groove is the fastest, but they kind of diamond the corner a little bit, where they enter pretty low in that middle groove, which is the bottom of the banking, so that's where we expect them to be, but they enter pretty low. You can watch the 10 here. Enter low with 2 tires on that, and then slide up in the middle of the corner, kind of get a peak, get the car rotated, and then come back off the corner and go back down towards that very bottom lane that's pretty flat. So that's kind of the preferred line right now. All the leaders are running. Now, Justin Hutchinson's going a little bit higher. Maybe he's going to try to cut down, get some momentum down the straightaway, try to make a move on this 26 car. He's too far back right now. But, yeah, you know, this is an interesting situation here that we have with multiple lines being run. It's really similar to the lines you'd run at a Martinsville type track, you know, because of the flat corners and because you're able to carry momentum if you enter differently. So it'll be fascinating to see what drivers are able to make the most passes and which lanes they are able to use. As we see the 10, he might be able to slip under the 26 right here down the front stretch.
This is now the most laps led Joshua Michaels has ever led in a race in his entire career, and he's really wanting to get that first career win before he leaves the Superstar Series for the time being. Remember, he's going down to the Nitro National Series with Kings Motorsports next season, so he wants to lead the Superstar Series on a good note, as J.D. Martin has now gotten around Henry Thomas for 4th, and now he's chasing after the 60 of Cody Goforth, trying to get that final podium position.
Yeah, they're swapping positions behind Goforth. I thought that maybe that 8 car was going to be able to get him. Wasn't able to, so now the 66 is going to take a shot. And, you know, J.D. Martin has just always kind of been a contender here late in the season. He's always up there in the top 5. He's trying to race for some wins in this season. And, he's doing a solid job, but he's got to get by Cody Goforth if he wants to compete with the top 3. As we watch the 26 still leading this race, and he's starting to put a little bit of a gap on the 10, maybe the 10 car, heated up his tires a little bit, just letting him cool, sitting behind the 26. And I just saw in the distance something that we always talk about, the lap cars here at New Hampshire. You know, it's going to be part of the equation. If they catch the lap cars, it will impact this race, so just keep an eye out for that.
That was Daniel Bouchard in the 73, who is 2 laps down at the moment. He had his own set of issues while Jeffrey Fittenguy was having his. So the 73 is now 2 laps down in the 42nd position. 40 cars still on the lead lap in this race. Everybody's still running after 14 laps have been completed. And it's Joshua Michaels with a very slim gap over Justin Hutchinson. Hutchinson now goes up to the high side trying to make something happen. He goes way up the racetrack. He's trying to get some momentum going, and that's going to open the door for Goforth to get underneath, but he clears off the high side. That 10 car looks like he's got a good car under him, but in my opinion, I think the fastest car on the racetrack right now is that black and white 66 right behind.
Yeah, he's moving and grooving, and watch him. He's on the outside. He was able to use the 10's problem to his advantage to get by the 60, because the 60 car had to check up because he wasn't able to use the whole track like he normally does out of the corner. And there it is. 66 car is up to 3rd place with a great move, a heads-up move around the outside, passing that 60 car.
So J.D. Martin passes the Mississippi-born Cody Goforth on the outside of the racetrack here at New Hampshire. Not something we expected to see, but a welcome addition to this race, as now Michaels and Hutchinson are standing in between J.D. Martin and his 2nd win of the season. It's a bit early to be talking about the win, though. We still have 60 laps to go in this race, but it's still anything can happen in this race because J.D. Martin's still continuing his charge up on the high side. But I think Justin Hutchinson's going to play it a little more aggressively than Cody Goforth. He's got a lot more to lose.
You're right. He's running about a half lane up from the leaders right now, which seems to be significantly benefiting him. Well, he ran in their tire tracks this time. I don't know if the leaders came up or if he came down that time through the corners, but he's setting some good laps here, and we'll see if he's able to make any moves. Right now, if he were to make a move, it would be a bit of a fool's errand because he would kind of run into the 26 car. He wouldn't be able to complete the pass on the 10. So he's just going to try to hang there until there's a little bit of a gap between the 26 and the 10. Then he'll be able to try to make a move on that 10 and slot into 2nd place. You don't want to try to get bite off more than you can chew by trying to pass 2 race cars here at New Hampshire, because you'll lose more positions than you gain trying to do something like that.
Could there have been just a bumper shot to the back of the 10? J.D. Martin's looks like he's in a hurry to try and get to the front. But Justin Hutchinson's got his own battle to worry about. He's trying to battle Joshua Michaels not only for the win, but for points as well. They're both racing for a championship, and now Hutchinson goes underneath the 10, but he gets onto that flat part of the racetrack, has to check up a little bit, and that is going to allow Michaels to keep his position. I think they're going to remain side by side off of 4 as we enter lap 20. This is going to be a very interesting battle for the lead.
Yeah, he was able to use that flat part of the track and kind of rotate his car around, but it turns out it's not going to work out. But I think that he learned something right there. He learned if he can keep some momentum after making a move like that, he'll be able to carry it down the front stretch or the back stretch and really make it happen. And now the 66 is turning underneath him right there. He's going to try to fight for 2nd place. He saw the lack of momentum. He learned from the 10 car's move, and there he goes, up to 2nd place. It looks like, let's see if he can get it clear here. It looks like he is. He's got the preferred lane. Oh, it's going to be close. I think the 66 is going to have the run off the corner, though. No, it's the 10 that has the run. Wow, let's see. Maybe Cody Goforth is going to get a spot here. The 66. Oh, he sent it in there. He's trying to still get 2nd place.
It's not going to be good enough, though. You can see these cars wobbling all over the place in 3 and 4. The wheel hop is a serious issue here on road courses and on the flat tracks like Martinsville and New Hampshire. It really offsets your car. And how about Henry Thomas putting the bumper to the back of the 60, moving him up to the top groove, and that is going to allow the 8 to get alongside the 60 here to try and make a move up into the 4th place. And behind them, it's Polanski and Hunter for 6th and 7th, and then Jared Jackson in the 71 deputizing for King's Motorsports. And he is making a move in that 71 car up into the top 10 with Bobo Jones right on his heels.
Yeah, well, the people this battle is really helping are those top 3 cars, because while they're battling for 2nd place, or for 2 wide, right there for 4th place. They're all battling up there. We got 3 wide on the track at the 18 up top. Oh my gosh, they're still 3 wide. 3 Toyotas all side by side here at Loudon, New Hampshire. Let's see what happens. Oh, the 51 sent it in there. He's going to back out. Smart decision by this 51, and now they're back to 2 wide.
And Jared Jackson's the big beneficiary of that. He just gained 2 spots right there. As Justin Hutchinson now goes to the outside of Joshua Michaels. Could this be the move for the lead right here? Coming through 1 and 2, it looks like Hutchinson's going to stay on that right rear of Michaels. Coming off of turn 2, he's going to get the run off the high side, and I think Michaels is going to have to give way going into turn 3 here. He gets onto the flat. He's got to back out of it. New leader at Loudon, New Hampshire. It's Justin Hutchinson in that 10 car.
Wow, what a move he made, too. And I really thought that the 66 was trying to help the 26 get back ahead of the 10 so that he could follow him through, but the 26 just entered way too low in turns 3 and 4, and he wasn't able to keep any momentum at all. It let the 10 car right by on the outside. Great move for the lead by Justin Hutchinson.
And critically, that's a bonus point for Justin Hutchinson as well for leading that lap. And we've got all 4 manufacturers right now running in the top 4 positions right now. So very good to see that. We always enjoy seeing that happen. As J.D. Martin makes a move on Joshua Michaels for 2nd, nice. He's going to easily take that spot away.
Yep, he was able to use momentum off the corner. He probably entered a little bit higher in that one, and he slipped low and then just got clear on the front stretch of 26 car. Now he's experiencing dirty air in this race for the first time, and I don't think his car is handling exactly the same as it was. He's starting to fall back.
1 car on the charge, though, is Jared Jackson in the 71. He's making a move on Henry Thomas to get up into the top 5. He's going to be stuck behind the 60 of Goforth. Will that be a blessing or a curse? It's yet to be seen. But it looks like the 71 has cleared the 8 for the time being, but Thomas makes a dive down to the inside once more. I think that very bottom groove is a bit more helpful in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4. You can actually make some time up on that very bottom lane in the first set of corners as opposed to the last set. But now, Jared Jackson's clear of Henry Thomas, and he's up in the top 5.
You're right about the turns having a little bit different effects when you're on the bottom and in the middle and the top. You know, it's one of those tracks just like a Bristol where from above, if you're looking from the blimp, and the 71 just got really tight going in that corner, maybe had to over adjust. It looks like it's going to be fine though. But if you're looking at it from above, both the corners look pretty similar, but when you're out there racing, they're pretty different. Now we got the 60 car making a move. Let's see if he's able to pass this 26. He lost some momentum there. The 26 is up top, so the 60 is going to stay low, try to keep it. He's just going to have to fall in line here. He's not next to anybody. He's letting the 71 get out there.
It's going to be interesting to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, he lost a lot of momentum coming down the straightaway. It was an interesting move. It wasn't the right timing because now Jared Jackson has gotten by him as well, and the 8 car is on his outside. He's losing positions left and right.
And keep in mind, we do have pit stops to come in this race in about 7 to 10 laps time. So expect to see the whole field on pit road. Tires aren't as big an issue as they are at, say, a Rockingham or at an Atlanta, but they will be some form of advantage, especially if you can get in to the pits before your opponents can.
Yeah, and I'm starting to realize, I remember in the pre-race I mentioned that I thought if the 60 of Goforth had gotten out ahead on lap 1, he may have been able to stay out there for a while, and I think that might have been what happened with our pole sitter in the 26, Joshua Michaels, because as soon as he got past, these guys, the 10 and the 66, have both pulled away significantly, and look, the 26 is losing even more positions now to Jared Jackson, and then the 8 car behind as well, so that's something interesting. I guess that car just maybe wasn't as fast as those guys, but he was fast enough to stay ahead. And now that the tires are starting to wear a little bit in this race, he's just not able to hang on and block like he was earlier. He's losing positions in a hurry.
Michaels led the first 23 laps in this race, the most he's ever led in a Superstar Series event. But now he's starting to lose positions, as is Cody Goforth, who's back to 6th. But right now, Martin and Hutchinson pulling away easily from the rest of the field as Jared Jackson, in just his 4th series start, is making a move up into the podium places in this Citgo Toyota. This is an incredible run from a driver making only his 4th series start, but he's got a 2-second gap to close if he wants to make a move on the top 2. But if there's anyone in this field who I think can close in on Martin and Hutchinson, it's Jared Jackson in the 71.
I agree. Yeah, that car is looking really good right now. Here at the end of the run, of course, we've got comers and goers in this thing, and it looks like somebody who's still coming is that 66. He is on the move, and he is trying to get this lead away from the 10 car. I mean, man, what an upset it would be if J.D. Martin would be able to get up there and get a win today here at New Hampshire. We'll have to see what happens after the pit stops, but this 66 car looks really, really good.
And coming off of turn 4 to complete lap 33, it is Justin Hutchinson out in front. He has led the last 11 laps of this race so far, but right now he's under intense fire from J.D. Martin in the 66. They're going to continue to be battling for this lead for a while to come, at least until the first round of pit stops. After that, we'll see where the track position plays itself out. But right now, it's Hutchinson out in the lead of this race, and he needs a good day, especially on a day where the car... We got an issue on it. It's Daniel Bouchard, who was 2 laps down. The engine was sick on that 73 right from the start, and it finally gave up on him. He couldn't push it any longer, and Daniel Bouchard will finish 42nd in this race out of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway event, and this will put him in quite a bit of a hole. He was 25th in points going into this race, and he will definitely not be in that position going forward for the rest of this race. But going back to the battle for the lead at hand, it is still Hutchinson ahead of Martin by about a quarter of a second.
Yep, no caution there, no fluid on the track, just a engine expiration, a little bit of smoke in the air, and we're still good to go here in New Hampshire, and we're racing for the lead. It's the 10, it's the 66, both battling. They're significantly farther ahead of the rest of the field here, even though the 71 has gotten past people. He's gotten free of their air bubble that they punch while they're side by side. He's gotten away from that, but he hasn't really been able to catch up a ton, and it's a 2-horse battle right now for the lead, and it looks like the 66 has got a big run here. He's going to try to make a move to the bottom. I don't know if he's got enough momentum to make it happen. He's going to sneak back in line. Oh! Boy, I thought there was going to be contact right there with the 66 and the 10, but they were able to let off, and now J.D. Martin is really tight on the bumper of the 10. This is going to be an interesting battle for the rest of this race, I think.
It's not out of the question for sure, as you see Martin hounding the back bumper of that 10 of Hutchinson coming off the corner. They're going to be side by side coming off the corner, entering lap 38 of this race. The pit window is open, so we will see now, because we have passed half distance in this race. So it's only a matter of time before we see a couple of cars make the trip down pit road, the top off, get 4 fresh tires, see what they can make of the rest of this race. We'll see who makes the first jump on the pit road, but right now this battle is just getting very intense. It looks like J.D. Martin's going to be the first one to jump on the pit road. He's slowing on the flat of the track, and yes, he is going to be the first one to make a pit stop. This could be huge for the race lead. Jared Jackson follows him in, but Hutchinson stays out on the racetrack to lead a lap ahead of Joshua Michaels, who's 4 seconds in the rear. But J.D. Martin might have just pulled the best strategy he could by pitting right before the 10 car did.
Yeah, the short pit doesn't do a ton at this track like it does at other tracks, but it's still a significant amount, and while they were running nose to tail like that, I mean, certainly if he's got that extra lap on fresh tires, he might be able to leapfrog the 10 car and be the one blocking instead of the one trying to pass. And look, it's the rest of the field coming into the pits now. Every single one of them, except for maybe 1, 2 there, the 15, and then Blair behind, have not pitted yet.
Yeah, 3 cars have stayed on the racetrack. Anderson Reed in the 15, followed by the 2 Finish Line Motorsports cars of Blair in the 19 and Freeman in the 01. So they are going to try and stay out, hope for a yellow flag to possibly come out, which is not impossible to happen in the middle of green flag pit stops. We've seen it happen before, but I imagine that Anderson Reed and the rest of these guys will come down pit road at some point in time, and it looks like they're coming in right now. At least it looks like, yes, they are. They're all coming in now. And pit stops, the name of the game here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, so another thing to factor into this and where people exit the
There's
pits.
Justin Hutchinson.
Battle for the lead.
And here comes J.D. Martin with warm tires, and he's going to easily clear the 10 of Hutchinson for the race lead. Put J.D. Martin in the lead of this race. He has now opened up a massive lead over the 10. It just goes to show what pitting first can do. And J.D. Martin has now cemented himself with a pretty big lead over this 10 car of Justin Hutchinson.
Yeah, that's a significant gap. So, sometimes with that strategy of pitting early, you end up with people who decide to try to counter that strategy by staying out for a lot longer than just one lap. You know, the goal there is to try to stay out as long as you can, and then by the time you pit, the person who pitted ahead of you has worn out tires so that you're able to go and catch them on your fresh tires. But the 10 car did not stay out for very long after he only stayed out for one lap, so their tires are about equal at this point, and JD Martin is way ahead. So that was a really, really good strategy call by that team to get JD Martin out front in a big way.
He's got a 2-second lead over Justin Hutchinson and a 5-second lead over Jared Jackson. So, barring a yellow flag, J.D. Martin's got this race very much in hand, at least until he catches the lap traffic up ahead, which you can just see off in the corner of your eye there. You can see now Brendan Beal, Jason Parker battling for position. These two teammates, of course, for BTB Motorsports. This is, along with Riley Spurley in the 76. This is the first race all season they've all made together, so a very good effort from the BTB Motorsports group, even if they're running at the back of the field. Making the race was good enough for them, and they're just hoping to run as many laps as they can. But right now, it is J.D. Martin with a 2.2-second lead over Justin Hutchinson, and that lead is growing all the time.
Yeah, that's, I mean, really, really well done from that team for the strategy to get him out front. But then the driver and the car as well, I mean, continuing to pull away after that type of strategy is just impressive. You know, he's got one lap older tires than the guy behind, but he's still gaining tenths every single lap. And I believe, you know, earlier in this race, you said that you thought that the 66 car was the fastest one on the track. Well, we're seeing it still. But, you know, we're still early in this last stint of the race. You know, we got to see if he's able to handle it on the back end of this run. You know, we'll see if the 10 car is maybe faster on the long run. That could be what they adjusted for. And, of course, you know, something else you have to keep an eye out for as far as when they pitted and how that adjusts the positions is how long did they take in the pits. You know, maybe Justin Hutchinson had a longer pit stop there and that impacted the gap. You know, he might have been closer had his pit crew performed to the same level of the 66 or even better, but right now it's just lights out. JD Martin ahead of Justin Hutchinson.
Lights out, and away we go indeed for JD Martin. He has kept a 2.7-second lead over Justin Hutchinson in that 10 car, and Jared Jackson 5.5 behind, but he's in front of an intense battle for the 4th position between Joshua Michaels and Jared Polanski in the 18. With Christian Vargas non-factoring in this race, this could be key for Jared Polanski to take the points lead back with a good run here today. He wants to get past Michaels and Jackson to get 2 more points to help him out, and he looks like he's going to make a move on the 26 right here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of contact between those two Toyotas going into the corner, because the 26 moved up the track in a big way, and then the 18 was able to slip low. So I don't know. We'll see if he's got the momentum. Oh, he's on the flat. Doesn't look like it. He's going to be able to carry it through there, but oh man, he might have moved him with the air a little bit right there. That was
and
pretty
keep
close.
In mind as well that Jared Polanski is going to be Joshua Michaels' car owner for next season, so that's going to be an interesting battle for position going forward. But right now, J.D. Martin just continues to cruise out in front of this field with a pretty massive lead, all things considered, here at New Hampshire. But right now, there are still 40 cars on the lead lap. All cars, barring Daniel Bouchard, still in this race. Jeffrey Finguy, the only car a lap down. And right now, it is J.D. Martin all the way here at New Hampshire. Not much can stop him unless the yellow flag comes out late in this race. That could play a very interesting factor in the outcome of this one.
So something interesting that I'm thinking about this 66 in that, you know, I'm observing that he is so much faster than he had been in the previous runs. I mean, of course he was fast before, but now he is just pulling away like nobody's business. And I'm curious if when they pitted, if they didn't adjust this car knowing that their strategy was going to put them ahead of the 10, if they had adjusted that car to run better in clean air, that could be a big factor, especially when he catches traffic, because he's going to be back in dirty air once he gets to the back end of the field, and that could impact the 66 car if it's not handling quite right once he catches that group. then it could be big news. And now we're watching Jared Polansky. He's under pressure from the outside lane. The 8 car is trying to make a move on him.
It looks like he's going to maybe try and make another run on the outside, but Polansky looks like he's going to hold him off for the time being. So keep the 18 in 5th place. Thomas makes a move to the very outside of the racetrack, but now he's under pressure from the 60 of Cody Goforth in their battle for the 6th position. Still a good run from Goforth, top 10 run. This would be his best career finish if he can stay up there. But right now, Bobo Jones gets to his outside a little bit. This could cause him to fall back to the 8th position. Still would be his best run of the season if he can finish there. His previous best was 9th at Indianapolis. But it's still a very good run from Cody Goforth. Started outside pole, running in the top 10, exactly what he needs to do. But Bobo Jones, Stephen Hunter, Jared Polansky, Joshua Michaels, they're all racing for a championship, and he's got to realize that there's a much bigger battle than the one he's going for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know that he really, as much as you want to be able to run up front in the top 3 and win that race, you know, his real concern right now has got to be with Arthur Xavier in the 99, who has been a non-factor so far in this race. You know, the 99 car nowhere to be found. But the 60, they're tied for points right now for 30th, which is an important position because that's the position that locks you into the field. So if you can maintain 30th spot in this race, and especially if you can get a gap on Arthur Xavier, a gap on the people that are fighting for that spot, then you're going to be looking good for a couple of races, which is really important for teams like the one housing the 60 car.
That's 53.95 Racing. They're closing then at the end of the season. They're going to shift focus to the Turbo Truck Series for 2022, with Richard Herman driving that 53 Ram 1500 in the Truck Series next year. We're looking forward to seeing him down there. Cody Goforth going to the Nitro National Series next year, Team Dayspring. That'll be fun to watch in 2022. But right now, JD Martin is closing that gap in a big way towards those lap traffic right ahead. The 2 BTB Motorsports cars of Beal and Parker right in front. You can see him in the shot right there. This is going to be an interesting battle to get ahead once he gets there.
So a couple times in this series, we've seen that the driver who is leading, who has a big gap over second place, once he starts to catch the lappers, he'll start to let off a little bit. You know, they'll let off and they'll say, all right, I don't want to catch those lappers right now. I want to maintain this gap because I know that I'm going to be going faster if I'm not right behind those lap cars and stuck behind them. And we'll see if he's able to do that in this 66 car right now, but there's a lot of laps left to just kind of lay over and let them be ahead. I think that he's better off right now just charging and trying to get by those guys as fast as he can, even if it's going to cost him a little bit in the future. It's going to be just as hard for the 10 car to get by those lappers as well.
Closing in on 20 laps to go from New Hampshire, and JD Martin's got a pretty big lead. It shrunk by a 10th. The last lap, we'll see what it is at the line. He gained that 10 back right there. So it's a almost 4-second lead for JD Martin, and he's finally caught the tail end of the field right now. Brandon Beal and Jason Parker trying to stay on the lead lap. This is Jason Parker's first race on an asphalt track, believe it or not. All 3 of his previous starts have come on concrete ovals. It came at Bristol, came at Hillside, and then it came at Bristol again. So he's tasting the asphalt for the first time in his career, and he's doing a pretty good job hanging on to in the battle for position. But right now, JD Martin is not happy with these lap cars. He wants them to get out of the way, but they're side by side in front of him. Where are they going to go?
Yeah, he said he's tasting asphalt for the first time. Well, he was just tasting the leader's front bumper getting pushed into turn 1. He's got to get through the 66. Look at that. He's trying the high side. The 37 is going on the bottom. They're too wide in front of him. Where is he going to go? There's nowhere to go on this track. He's going to go to the bottom. He's going to push that 37 now again into turn 1.
And the gap closed by 0.8 of a second that lap. You can tell JD Martin is struggling behind these lap cars. He needs to get by them in a big hurry, otherwise Hutchinson is going to be closing in on him before you know it. And he's going to make it 3 wide down in the turn 3. He's gotten to be on the flat of the track, but he's got such a pace advantage over these two. He's going to make it work as they almost make contact coming off of turn 4.
My goodness, what a move from JD Martin. I mean, that is some risky business right there, and he's still side by side with the 37.
But he lost another 0.6 of a second on that lap. Justin Hutchinson is gaining. It's down to 2.4 seconds. So now, but now JD Martin is clear of the 2 BTB Motorsports cars. So now he should be in fairly good shape going forward, because the next car up is Riley Spurley-Tube, and that's not for a good long while. But J.D. Martin's going to have to deal with those lap cars as well when he gets there, so it's going to be a similar battle between these guys. We now have 15 laps to go from New Hampshire.
He's got to be thinking, finally get by those guys. That was just incredible to watch him just struggle right behind. But now it all comes down to if Justin Hutchinson can get by them any faster, he's going to be able to gain time. And then, of course, there's more lap cars up there, so we're going to have to see.
And I hate to break this news. Absolute tragedy for the driver we've been praising all race long. Our outside pole sitter, Cody Goforth, befell a similar fate to Daniel Bouchard earlier in this race. His engine expired on lap 57 of this race, and he will not see the end of this race. An absolute heartbreaker for Cody Goforth. He's having such a phenomenal day, running in the top 10, top 5 all race long. Looked like he was going to get his second top 10 of the season. Now it's all for naught, and he will have to race his way in, qualifying on time when we go to Denver in 1 week's time.
Oh, that is a complete heartbreaker for that team. I mean, man, oh man, what a good run. A great qualifying effort and a good run in the race up to that point. Man, that is just a tough break for that 60 crew.
Definitely, and now that guarantees Arthur Xavier into the field for next week's race at Denver, so it's going to be very interesting to see. Goforth has made every race this season, even if he's not been locked in, so I trust he'll be able to make the field, but that's just got to be a real morale loss there for Cody Goforth. He's having such a good run, too, at one of his best tracks, his favorite racetrack, and having such a good run, and it's all for naught here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're closing in on the end of this race. There's Arthur Xavier in the 99, running at the tail end of the lead lap, but he will gain points on Cody Goforth when this is all said and done. Heartbreaker for the 60, but there's still 5 races to go to claw his way back up to the top, as we got caution on the racetrack. For the first time on lap 64, and it's Henry Thomas in the 8. He was running in the top 5 as well in that 8 car. His race is over on lap 65.
Wonder what happened to him. I mean, it brought out the yellow, so it was a significant issue. I mean, we have had 2 engine expirations, and then, of course, whatever happened to the 8 car, so, there could be anything on the track. I guess we'll find out pretty soon what has happened to that 8 machine here in this race.
So cautions come out with 11 laps to go.
There's the damage.
To Zachary Fitzwater, he might have scraped the wall on an earlier occasion. That might not be what the caution's for, though. I believe it is for Henry Thomas. But as the field catches back up, this will be a single-file restart going forward. So J.D. Martin will have those 2 lap cars in between himself and Justin Hutchinson's. Now we take a good look at what happened to Henry Thomas that brings his day to an unfortunate end here with just a handful of laps to go at New Hampshire. So this is where Henry Thomas was running. He was running in about the 6th position. And is it going to be another engine failure that befalls the 8? Yes, it is. Right in front of Bobo Jones, Stephen Hunter, Patrick Smith. They're all scattering to avoid him, and he's just got nowhere to go, dropping fluid on the racetrack. He's got to pull to a stop on the apron of the racetrack. That's just a dangerous spot to be, and they had to throw the yellow for that.
Yeah, I totally agree with the yellow flag for this one. He just stopped down there. Dangerous spot here at New Hampshire. One of the fastest parts of this racetrack. So a good call on the caution there, and we'll move forward in this race.
And we will move forward in this race with a late race restart. That'll be an interesting story to keep our eye on. And like I said before, this will be a single file restart because we are under 10 laps to go. No lap cars on the inside line. That means J.D. Martin will have 2 lap cars in between himself and Justin Hutchinson. This will be a big advantage for the 66 car when we do go back racing.
Yeah, you're certainly right. It will be a huge advantage. It's all going to depend on the how well Justin Hutchinson is able to get by those guys, and if he's able to do better on some tires with a heat cycle. Nobody has had to deal with tires with a heat cycle all weekend, so this is going to be a first-time thing for the drivers here at New Hampshire in this race. Everybody's tires are cooling off right now, picking up rubber that's been collecting on the track for 67 laps in this thing. So, they're going to have to clean them off pretty good before the restart by spinning them up and getting slowed down again. And we're just going to have to see who's able to be the fastest on this start. It's gonna be a big thing for the 10 car to try to get by those 2 lappers who gave the 66 so much trouble already. So we'll see how it works out when we go green.
That will be about 8 laps to go in this race, because I believe the lights will be out on the pace car as they cross the line here. We will confirm that once the pace car crosses the line with J.D. Martin and the rest of the field in tow. And as they cross the line, yes, the lights are out on the pace car now. We will be going back racing with 8 laps to go in this race. And J.D. Martin is all but got his second win of the season in the bag here. The 4th of his career, but he still got 8 laps to fend off a hungry Justin Hutchinson, and if there's anybody I would not want on my rearview mirror going in the battle for a race win, especially when it's crunch time on the playoffs, it's that 10 car.
Yeah, for sure. And he needs the points right now. I mean, he was 61 points behind going into this race, and of course, the 54 has not been seen in the top 10 today yet. So this is a big time points day for whoever can go up there and grab him. And the 10 wants all that he can get. He wants to go and get a win right here. And don't forget about that 37 car. I mean, the 66 is pretty rough with him, thinking he wouldn't see him again in the race. But there he is, right behind on the restart. So I wouldn't expect anything too malicious, but it's something to think about going into this start.
Pace car pulls on pit road. The green flag is out. Green flag back in the air at New Hampshire. And J.D. Martin gets a very good start. Justin Hutchinson goes underneath Jason Parker, but Jared Jackson's going to make a move underneath him.
Wow.
Going into turn 1. This is the battle for second position. Hutchinson and Jackson side by side for second behind the lap traffic. This is going to allow J.D. Martin to get a massive lead already.
Yeah, that's exactly what J.D. Martin wanted to see. He wanted to see some side-by-side battles behind those lap cars. And now the 10 is not able to get by the 26. He sent it in there trying to. Wasn't able to make it happen that time. He's got to be quicker. There he is. He's going to the bottom. Let's see if he can get him in turn 1. Clear that 27 car. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if he's got enough momentum. It just takes so long to complete a pass here at New Hampshire. There he goes. He's getting the momentum. He's going to be able to get ahead here. Staying on the bottom groove of the track, so he still has not completed the pass. The 27's ahead, and now the 10 goes into this corner, and the 26, Joshua Michaels, is trying to fend off some people from behind. This is all a battle for position. The 71, the 26, the 18, all these drivers behind are battling for position, and now they're being held up by the lapper.
And how about Patrick Smith in this 07 car, leading contender for Rookie of the Year, and for a good reason. He's making a charge now up into the top 5 as that 07, but he's getting sandwiched by Jared Polanski and Joshua Michaels down there off of turn 2 as Justin Hutchinson finally clears the 27. He still got the 37 clear though, and even when he gets by that 37 car with Brandon Beal, he's got a 1.5 second lead to close and only 5 laps to do it.
Yeah, I mean it's starting to look like a real tough hill to climb for this 10 car. I mean, he is in a situation that nobody is jealous of at the moment. He's trying to pass a lapper, and he's got so much time to make up. And now look at all these drivers 3 wide, fighting for every inch of the racetrack they can get. There's contact coming out of the corner with the 07 and the 18. Oh my gosh, and they're all trying to pass the lapper as well.
I count half the playoff field stuck in that battle for position right there, trying to gain a lot of ground on these guys right here. And as now we have 4 laps of racing to go from New Hampshire. Patrick Smith is clear of the pack to settle into 4th position, right behind Jared Jackson. Now Justin Hutchinson making a move on Brandon Beal to get around him. But I just don't think it's going to be enough time for him to get there. Justin Hutchinson's going to have to make up about 2 seconds in 3 laps.
No, I completely agree, and he's going to have to spend some time to get by this 37 car, but something that nobody has wanted to see, especially if you're a playoff driver, is the number 54 sitting in 10th place right now through that huge scrum. He's moved up to 9th now in this race. The leader in the points is having himself a run at the end of this thing, taking full advantage of the caution, getting back into the top 10 and trying to make up some points that he could have lost in this race. He's trying to minimize damages in this thing, and we're going to watch J.D. Martin come around the corner here and take a 2-lap to go. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it. Of course, a caution at this point of the race would end it, but right now he's just smooth sailing, and he's still gaining time.
2 laps of racing to go. J.D. Martin looking for his 2nd win of the season. His first came at the Denver Oval 15 races ago. It's been 15 races since J.D. Martin last went to victory lane. He's looking to break that winless streak here in the Magic Mile. Coming through 3 and 4 for the second to last time. We're going to see the white flag this time. J.D. Martin's got a massive lead, 2.5 seconds. White flag in the air one more time around for New Hampshire.
And I'll tell you what, he has been up front for a lot of races lately. He's still gaining time on the 10 car right now, and this 66 has been due up for a while. You know, he's just always up there. He's led laps. He's been trying to make it happen. I mean, he's got 98 laps led on the season prior to this race. You know, he's been up there. He's been dominant, and now he's finally going to get it done.
Coming through 3 and 4 for the final time, it's going to be J.D. Martin. No challenges from behind, and he's going to get his 4th career win at the Magic Mile. J.D. Martin does it at New Hampshire. Justin Hutchinson comes across second. Patrick Smith comes home third to complete the podium. Jared Jackson, his first career top 5 in 4th ahead of Jared Polanski. 5th, Bobo Jones. Jake McMillan, 6th and 7th. Then a drag race between the 83 and 54, 8th and 9th. And Stephen Hunter rounds out the top 10 to keep his championship hopes afloat, just ahead of Nelson Reeves. And Joshua Michaels was the real loser in that big battle for position. He fell all the way back to 12th at the end of this race. But that was one heck of a final restart at New Hampshire. It's exactly why we say anything can happen in these races, and it usually does. That was a race to remember here at the Magic Mile.
Yeah, I mean, that last restart, there was so much frantic activity going on. I mean, we watched the 54 get up to 9th place there and salvage a day lost, and Joshua Michaels had a great day in the making before the restart and then fell all the way back, and he lost points to the current leader. So it's really interesting how this is potentially going to shake up the playoff field. Of course, the 10 car got good points. The 18 got some solid points there. And the 54 also has gotten himself back in the picture in the top 10, at least for this race. So I'm excited to look at the points after this thing, and I'm excited to see what comes next in the Superstar Series.
What comes next is our final road course race of the season, right where J.D. Martin got his first win of the season at Denver Motorsports Park. We're using the road course layout this time, and we bet it's going to be a great load of fun for our final road course race of the season. You're not going to want to miss the action from Denver. We hope you'll join us for that race as well. It's going to be a good one. So, from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Magic Mile at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where J.D. Martin executed a perfect strategy call, getting out ahead of Justin Hutchinson and holding on the rest of the way for his 2nd win of the season and the 4th of his 1UP Superstar Series career.